Class, dito na tayo sa Chapter 2 ng ABM 2. Yan. Ang title ay Statement of Comprehensive Income. So, patuloy lang kayo sanang nanonood ng ating mga videos. At sana mag-subscribe kayo at i-like nyo and i-share nyo sa mga kaibigan nyo, sa kaklase nyo para makapag-aral din sila. Yan. So, sige, pag-aralan natin. Class, dito na tayo sa Chapter 2 ng Book 2, Statement of Comprehensive Income. The Statement of Comprehensive Income is the second component of the complete set of the financial statements. So, yung una, di ba, yung Statement of Financial Position. So, itong Statement of Comprehensive Income, pangalawa siya. Then, shows information on an entity's financial performance during the period. So, pinapakita rito yung kung kumita ba yung business mo for the period. O nalugi ba? Ganon. So, yun tinatawag na financial performance. Then, it shows the profit and loss, other comprehensive income, and comprehensive income. So, yan yung pinaka net income, comprehensive income. Then, tingnan natin yung comparison ng income statement versus statement of comprehensive income. Sa income statement, ito lang yung composition niya. Income. So, pag sinabing income, halimbawa, ayan yung napagbentahan mo. Kung buy and sell ka, nagbenta ka ng goods, so yan yung nabenta mo for the year. So, income mo, 10,000. Then, total expenses mo for the year, 6,000. So, iba minus mo lang yan. So, profit or loss, 4,000. So, kumita ka ng 4,000 pesos. Then, yung statement of comprehensive income naman, kumbaga, combination na siya ng income statement at saka other comprehensive income. So, yun pa rin, yung income mo, 10,000. Then, expenses mo, 6,000. So, yung profit or loss mo, 4,000. Then, yung other comprehensive income, 500. Then, yung comprehensive income mo, so, yung pinaka-income mo na, kinita mo ay 4,500. So, yung other comprehensive income dyan, pwedeng may iba kang pinagkakakitaan bukod dun sa pagbabuy and sell mo o kaya yung service type of business mo, nagsiservice ka. So, dapat mo isama yon kasi part din yun ng company mo, pinagkakitaan mo sa iba. Pero part yun ng business mo. So, yun. Dapat isama mo. Ito yung sinasabi nga eh. Sabi dyan, the standards require entities to present a statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Meaning, presenting an income statement alone without other comprehensive income is prohibited. So, yung other comprehensive income mo na pinagkakitaan mo rin as part of your business, dapat isasama mo yan. Kasi, pinagbabawal nga ng gobyerno kung hindi mo isasama kasi kinukunan din yun ng tax. So, kapag hindi mo yan sinama, mas mababa na babayaran mong tax, di ba? So, minomonitor yan ng gobyerno. Kaya dapat mong isama. Ayan. Tignan naman natin tong single statement versus two statement presentation. Sa single statement presentation, parang katulad din ng kaninang example, pinagsama na yung income statement at saka other comprehensive income. So, yan. So, single statement lang yan dahil pinagsama na. Then, yung two-statement presentation, pinag-iwalay naman dito. Hiniwalay yung income statement mula income, 10,000, expenses, 6,000, profit or loss mo, 4,000. Hanggang doon lang ang income statement. So, hiniwala yung profit and loss mo, yung 4,000 na yon, plus other comprehensive income na 500. So, total comprehensive income for the year, 4,500. So, pinag-iwalay lang, di ba? So, ayan. Yun ang kaibahan ng single at saka two-statement presentation. Tinaman na natin itong elements of statement of comprehensive income. Siyempre, sa income statement, dalawa yung makikita dyan, yung income and expense. So, una, income. Sabi dyan, are increases in economic benefits during the period in the form of inflows or enhancement of asset or decrease of liabilities that result in increase in equity. So, kapag income, syempre, may nabebenta ka, kumikita ka, papasok ang pera. Diba? Inflows, at dadagdagan yung asset mo kasi yung pera is asset. Diba? Then, yung liabilities mo, nababawasan, nagre-resulta ng increase in equity. Siyempre, pag kumikita ka, kumikita yung may-ari, yung net income nila, madadagdag sa kanilang equity. Yun. When we say net income, bawas na lahat ng expenses. Yun. Yun talagang mismong kinita na. Yun ang nadadagdag sa equity. Yun. Naintindihan ba? Income includes both revenue and gains. So, under income, merong revenue at saka gains. So, under revenue, arises in the course of the ordinary activities of the business and is referred to by a variety of different names, including sales, fees, interest, dividends, royalties, and rent. The revenue earned by a service business from rendering services is commonly referred to as service fees or service revenue. Siyempre, kapag service type of business yung business mo, ang tawag doon, service fees or service revenue. Kapag merchandising business naman, from its sales of goods is commonly referred to as sales revenue or simply sales. Sales kasi nagbenta ka ng goods, di ba? As merchandising business. So, yun, sales revenue or simply sales. Sa gains naman, represent other items that meet the definition of income and may or may not arise in the course of the ordinary activities of the business. Sa gains naman, halimbawa, meron kang mga equipment na fully depreciated na o kaya medyo hindi mo na nagagamit, nakatambak lang dyan. Siyempre, takaw space pa yan. So, gusto mo na lang ibenta, at least kumita ka. Mga fully depreciated na, then, nabenta mo siya ng mas mahal pa dun sa, nabenta mo siya kasi fully depreciated na eh. Ibig sabihin, pag fully depreciated, zero value na. So, pag binenta mo, kikita ka talaga. Kasi, nagamit mo na naman ng todo-todo yun eh. So, yun. So, yun yung gains doon. Then, pangalawa, expenses are decrease in economic benefits during the period in the form of outflows naman to, or depletion of asset, or increase of liabilities that result in decrease in equity. So, kapag expenses, syempre, marami kang binabayaran eh. So, palabas yung pera mo, nababawasan yung asset mo, nadadagdagan naman yung utang mo. At ang resulta, nababawasan yung equity, bumababa. Kumbaga, pag hindi kumita yung business, yung lugi, ibabawas dun sa equity o sa capital na may-ari. So, yun. Pag expenses, outflows. Yan. Expenses includes both expenses and losses. So, expenses arises in the course of the ordinary activities of the business. Siyempre, lahat naman ng mga businesses may mga expenses yan eh. Kasi kapag wala kang expenses, ano yun? Hindi ka gumagastos, nagbi-business ka, hindi ka gumagastos. Hindi pwede yun, di ba? Kapag may income, may expenses. Partner yan. Yan. Tsaka yung losses represent other items that meet the definition of expenses and may or may not arise in the course of the ordinary activities of the business. So the difference between income and expense represent profit or loss. Yan yung difference daw ng income and expense represent kung profit or loss. Sabi rito, if income is greater than expenses, the difference is profit. If income is less than expenses, the difference is loss. Yan. Siyempre, pag malaki income mo, mas maliit ang expense, meron kang profit. Pag maliit naman ang income mo, mataas ang expense, meron kang loss. Yan. Yan. Meron tayong illustration dito. Statement of comprehensive income of a service company. Service type of business to. The trial balance of ABC company on December 31, 2019. So ito, pag sinabi kasing trial balance, debit and credit balance. Pero in the case of this, yung portion lang ng income and expense. Siyempre, hindi naman pwedeng magpareho yan, yung debit at credit. Kasi kung pareho yan, ibig sabihin, wala kang kinita, break even lang. Di ba? So, ito kasi part lang ng income at saka expenses. Makikita natin yung pareho, yung debit and credit kapag kasama na yung asset, liabilities, and equity. Then kasama pa to. So doon dapat, balance dapat yan. Pareho yung debit at credit. Since income and expense lang to, eto yan. So si ABC Company, ito yung mga balances ng mga accounts niya. Ibig sabihin, meron service type of business, naka-receive siya ng mga service fees, yung collection niya. For the year, 870,000 na-collecta niya. Then, interest income, 60,000. Yung pautang niya na, siyempre, may interest. So, kumita siya doon. Then, gains. Nagtinda siya ng mga equipment na fully depreciated na, hindi na nakatambak lang doon. So, binenta niya na lang. Kumita pa siya ng 20,000. Then, yung expenses mo naman, salaries expenses, 300,000. Yung nagre-renta ka ng space, 30,000. Yung utilities expense, yung kuryente, tubig, telepono, 20,000. Then, supplies expense, 10,000. Then, depreciation expense, 40,000. Taxes and license, 70,000. Transportation and travel, 5,000. Interest expense, siguro ikaw naman ang umutang, nagbayad ka ng interest, 2,000. Miscellaneous expense, 1,000. Siguro ito lang yung mga, limbawa, dun sa office, kailangan, may pantry doon, di ba? Bumili kayo ng mga kutsara, plato, tinidor, yan. Miscellaneous, lang yan, maliliit na amount lang, 1,000. Losses, 15,000. When we say losses, pwedeng nagtinda ka ng, binenta mo na yung mga equipment na hindi pa siya fully depreciated, pero kailangan mo na ibenta kasi halos sira na rin. So, medyo nalugi ka dyan. Kasi may value pa, hindi pa fully depreciated. So, ayan. So, requirement, prepare the statement of comprehensive income. So, ito yung presentation niya. Siyempre, ang mga financial statement, formal yan. So, lalagay mo yung pangalan ng company, ABC Company, then ang pangalan, statement of comprehensive income. Yan yung pangalan ng report. Then, for the period ended December 31, 2019. So, isang taon niya, kumbaga, Ito yung transaction mo for the whole year. Yung performance mo from January 1 to December 31. So, sabi diyan, yung income mo, yung service fees, nakakolekta ka ng 870,000. Then, yung interest income, 60,000. Gains, 20,000. Total income mo is 950,000. Then, ito naman yung mga expenses mo for the year. Yung pasweldo mo, 300,000. Yung upa mo sa space mo, 30,000, yung utilities, kuryente, tubig, telepono, 20,000. Yung supplies expense mo, 10,000. Yung depreciation expense ng mga equipment mo, halimbawa, yung mga company car, syempre, nagdi-depreciate yan, yung building. So, sama-sama na dyan yan, 40,000. Taxes and license, maybe nagbayad ka ng property tax o kaya business permit sa munisipyo, yan. Yun ang tawag dyan. 70,000 yun. Then, transportation and travel expense. Yun, yung mga, halimbawa, may nagpupunta sa ibang bansa for seminar o kaya sa mga sa probinsya. Ayan. For audit, 5,000. Interest, 2,000. Interest expense, 2,000. Miscellaneous expense, 1,000. Then, yung losses, 15,000. So, total expenses mo for the year is 493,000. So, yung profit mo for the year, 457,000. Since wala ka namang other comprehensive income, so, ang comprehensive income mo for the year is 457,000. Dito naman tayo sa presentation of expenses. Paano ba ipapresent daw yung mga expenses mo dun sa statement of comprehensive income. Sabi dyan, expenses may be presented in the statement of comprehensive income in using either of the following method. Sabi dyan, nature of expense method, then function of expense method, or cost of sale method. So, sa nature of expense method, sabi dyan, expenses are presented according to their nature. For example, depreciation expense, purchase of material, transport costs, employees' benefits, and advertising costs, and are not allocated among their function within the entity. A statement of comprehensive income that shows expenses by their nature is referred to as prepared using single-step approach. Pag sinabing single-step approach, kumbaga, kasi sa function of expense method, may breakdown, may 5 klaseng line items na kung ano-ano yung mga composition nun. Halimbawa, selling expense, administrative expense, cost of goods sold, then interest expense, at saka, ano pa ba yung isa? Income tax. Ayan. So, sa nature of expenses, ano lang siya, sama-sama na siya, hindi na siya naka-breakdown per line items. Ayan. Yun ang nature of expense. Kaya tinawag na single-step approach. Dito naman sa function of expense method, expenses are classified and presented according to their function as part of cost of sales, for example, the cost of distribution or administrative activities. At minimum, an entity discloses its cost of sales separate from other expenses. So, dito, gustong malaman din kasi siguro ng may-ari, magkano ba yung mga selling expenses, then in administrative expenses, gusto nila i-separate. Siyempre, then, dun sa cost of goods sold, sa income tax, other expenses, ayun, gusto nilang makita separately. So, more or less, dito sa function of expense method, yun nga, merong 5 line items na kung saan kasama yung mga breakdown nun. i-break mo per selling expense, administrative expenses, cost of goods sold, interest expense, income tax, or other expenses. Yon. Next, the following are the major categories of expenses under the function of expense method. Ito na nga yung line items. Kumbaga naka-total dito, naka-break yung kung ano yung mga yung mga isasama per group, per line item. Halimbawa, sa cost of sale or cost of goods sold. Usually, isang line item lang yan. Pero itong distribution cost or selling expense, marami yan. Maraming breakdown yan. Ganon din yung administrative expenses or general and administrative expenses. Medyo marami din breakdown yan. Yung other expenses, ganon. Meron din yung breakdown. Interest expense, finance cost. So, ayan. Then, income tax expense. So, yan yung 6 na line items na separately presented sa Statement of Comprehensive Income. So, tingnan natin. Distribution costs or selling expenses are costs attributed to selling activities. Example, freight out or delivery expenses, sales commission, advertising, salaries of sales personnel, depreciation on delivery, equipment, rent pertaining to space occupied by the sales department, and the like. So, kapag selling expenses or distribution costs, lahat lang na may kinalaman sa sales, yan, dyan siya sa selling expenses. Ito namang administrative expenses is a residual category of expenses, meaning an expenses that does not qualify for classification under other categories. Example, insurance, taxes and license, salaries of non-sales personnel, depreciation of asset not used by the sales department, rent pertaining to office space, and the like. So, yung natira, halimbawa, nakuha mo na lahat yung sa selling expenses. Yung natira, administrative. Maliban lang dito sa other expenses, interest expenses, income tax expense, tsaka yung cost of sale. Yan. So, the rest, yung natira over selling expenses, administrative expenses yon. Ayan. Pero naka-breakdown naman dyan kung ano na yung mga administrative. Diba? Insurance, taxes and license, salaries of non-sales personnel, depreciation of asset not used by the sales department, rent pertaining to the office space, and the like. Ayan. So, yung other expenses naman includes losses. Yun, nalugi. Siguro, ayan, sabi dyan, nagbenta ng property. Ayan. O kaya may casualty losses. Meron namatay sa factory. Naputulan ng daliri. Mga ganon ba? So, siyempre, gagastusan mo yun. So, limbawa nga, nagbenta ka ng equipment. So, other expenses yun. Kung nalugi ka sa pagkabenta, hindi pa siya fully depreciated. Then, yung income taxes, yan. Again, line items are used in order to promote comparability of financial statements between different businesses. An entity shall use its judgment when determining the need to present additional line item. So, yung illustration na to is a function of expense. Kumbaga, may breakdown siya. Ang gagawin dyan, ano-ano yung mga selling expenses, administrative expenses, cost of goods sold, other expenses, interest expense. So, kumbaga, itong given na to, paghahati-hatian itong mga to. So, ano ba yan? The accounts of entity shows the following balances. Cost of goods sold, 250,000. Insurance expense, 120. Advertising expense, 18,000. Freight out, 36,000. Loss on sale of equipment, 4,000. Rent expense, ayan. 1/2 pertains to sales department. Ayan, naghati sila. So, yung 1/2 sa administrative yon, automatic. Salaries expense, yung 1/4 daw pertains to non-sales department. So, yung 3/4, automatic sa sales department kasi non-sales yung 1/4 eh. So, yung 3/4 sa sales department. Then, sales commission expense, 20,000. Then, bad debts, 6,000. Interest expense, 1,000. So, anong gagawin? Determine the amount of expenses classified as selling expenses. Pangalawa, administrative expenses. Then, yung cost of goods sold, yung other expenses. And interest expense. So, ayan. Solution. Selling expense. Ito yung mga kasama sa selling expenses. Yung advertising, 18,000. Freight out, 36,000. Yung rent, 120 times 1/2. So, 60,000 sa selling expenses. Then, salaries expenses, sabi dyan, 200,000 times 3/4, 150 ang share sa salaries ng selling expense. Then, sales commission, 20,000. So, ang total selling expense is 284,000. Sa administrative expenses naman, ito yung breakdown niya. Insurance expense, 120. Rent expense, hati sila, di ba? So, 60,000 din sa kanya, sa administrative. Sa salaries naman, 1/4 lang sa administrative, kaya 50,000. Then, may bad debts expense, 6,000, yung hindi na makolekta. Ayan. So, total administrative expenses is 236,000. So, yung iba pang line items, yung cost of goods sold, sabi dyan, 250,000. Ano siya? To be presented separately. Then, loss on sale of equipment, 4,000. Presented as other expenses. So, yung loss on sale of equipment, other expenses. Then, interest expense, to be presented separately. So, naintindihan ba? So, part 1 lang muna yan kasi medyo mahaba na. So, part 2, susunod na lang. So, ito, maraming salamat. Pag-aralan nyo Bye-bye.